grid then will see Jacob Jukes on pole position, because you can see him there in the P1 berth in the background of the picture. Nicholas Ellis will be alongside with Tom Holden and Jaden Hewitt. On the second row, Tristan Powell and Maximus Shields on row number 3. Then we've got Curtis Latimer and Melissa Adrian, with Harry Hurst-Grover and Sam Stoner, with Bartek Filipiak and Ollie Naylor on row number 6. James Waring will start the final from P13. As I say, all of our marshals are making their way back to their posts. We should hopefully be able to go racing for the our first final of the day in a few moments' time. We're just waiting for a full track clearance again, but looks like everybody is out there in the holding area. Most of the junior max carts have actually been down there for around about half an hour, just sat on stands waiting. Hence why you can see most of the mechanics in the background just enjoying the sun and the odd ice lolly from the ice cream van. We saw the ice cream man getting an interview earlier as well, and he's done a fantastic job and a roaring trade as well this weekend in these fantastic weather conditions here at Llandow. Of course, we are here at round number 6. We've got 2 more rounds of the Cadet and Junior Kart Championship coming up to bring 2022 to a close. So in 2 weeks' time, we head towards Hooton Park, the weekend of the 3rd and 4th of September for round 7. That's the first time that we're going to have the opportunity to crown some champions in this Cadet and Junior Kart Championship. Certainly Honda Cadet looking like it's heading in the direction of Harris Roberts, all being well. So Hooton will be the first opportunity he'll have to take the championship trophy with him. And if he doesn't manage to get it over the line, he will get another opportunity for the first weekend of October as we head to Ella Park in Suffolk to close the season in the Cadet and Junior Kart Championship. Junior Max are making their way out onto the circuit then for their final. They'll get their one rolling up lap, and then we will head towards the green flag. Just making their way round. The track temperature is still very hot, despite the fact that it is 4:30 in the afternoon. They make their way down the Spitfire straight towards the Dell, and then they'll get themselves into that 2x2 formation. Most of them already in that position as they head onto the back straight. Jacob Jukes on the outside, controlling the speed as Nicholas Ellis on the inside just warms his tyres. Jaden Hewitt behind, out of the final corner into the tram lines. And we are away and racing then in Junior Max, and Jacob Jukes sweeps round the outside. Tom Holden's had a good start and moved up from 3rd into 2nd place. He was in the same line as Jacob Jukes in 2nd place. He's going to come under pressure though as they head down towards Surtees from Nicholas Ellis in 3rd place. Ellis slotting in the background as everybody else makes their way through, nose to tail, all the way down to 13th place, where James Waring, sees Ollie Naylor going down the inside for P11. That made that move down at Chandler's and moves through on Sam Stoner. Onto the back straight then comes your race leader, Jacob Jukes, with Tom Holden, Nicholas Ellis, Jaden Hewitt. The top 4 will confirm the top 10 as they come over the line. So it's Jukes, Holden, Ellis and Hewitt, as we mentioned before. Then Tristan Powell, in front of Curtis Latimer, Maximus Shields, Harry Hurst-Grover, Melissa Adrian and Bartek Filipiak completing your top 10. Ollie Naylor, Sam Stoner and James Waring, your remaining runners. Through they come out of the right-hander at McWerthers. Jacob Jukes is already starting to open up a little bit of a gap, but we know that Tom Holden had enough to keep him honest in the 3rd heat here. And Jukes with a little bit of a hand signal to his ex-kart stablemate Holden behind. Then we've got 2 Cartel Motorsport machines in Ellis and Jaden Hewitt. Hewitt performing very well this weekend, obviously liking this Llandow circuit, running comfortably for most of the day. Inside the top 4 on the periphery of a podium as Holden is quite slow round McWerthers, and that allows Ellis to close up on the back. So don't know whether Holden is maybe geared up in terms of the gearing and the tyres towards the end of this race. In the background there, looked like there was a potential issue for Maximus Shields. We saw the gold helmet rolling round in what was 13th place. So with his arm up off the steering wheel, allowing a few runners to come through. Keep an eye out for the 181 on timing, because he's dropping down the order, down into 10th, 11th, could be 12th by the time they come through and over the line for Max Shields. So I'm not sure whether he's had an off or whether he has a problem in that 181 machine, but we'll find out when he comes through. As now Ellis and Hewitt as Holden goes wide onto the grass, and he could even lose 4th place as Latimer closes right up as well on the back of Tom Holden. So he skims over now. You've got Jaden Hewitt and Nicholas Ellis going side by side into the chicane, and that's going to allow Holden to close right up once again onto the back, once again with Curtis Latimer. So 3 Cartel Motorsport cars sandwiching Tom Holden, who now drops down into 4th place. Waring and Shields come through. They both set personal best, so Shields has dropped down into 12th, but he's still running in this junior Rotax final. Under 7 minutes now, so 3 minutes in the bag already. And Latimer all over the back of Tom Holden as they head towards the Dell. Single file into there, and you see at the front of it, Nicholas Ellis has moved away ever so slightly from Jaden Hewitt. The gap on the previous lap was 1.2 to your race leader, Jacob Dukes. See if we can get an update on the timing. Could be just ever so slightly down. It was 1.284 on the previous lap. There we do. We have an update, the fastest lap of the race, in fact, by Nicholas Ellis. 0.4 of a second quicker than Dukes in front of him. Closes the gap down to 0.9 of a second as we follow Harry Hurst Grover with Ollie Naylor, who's moved up from 12th place into 8th. Melissa Adrian, Sam Stone at Bartek Filipiak as well in that battle. The gap is down to 0.7. Nicholas Ellis smells a victory here at Llandow as there's position changes with Hurst Grover and Naylor moving up with the expense of Tristan Powell, who drops down into 8th in front of Melissa Adrian. The top 3 evenly spread with 6 or 0.7 between them. Dukes, Ellis and Hewitt, your top 3. 1.5 seconds cumulatively between the 3 of them. Then it's going to be a similar gap back to Tom Holden, who's under pressure from Latimer. Then in the background, I think we saw Ollie Naylor and Harry Hurst Grover coming through together. See whether they're in the same position when they rejoin, but your top 5 on screen now with Ellis closing in on Jacob Dukes. 0.7 on the previous lap, having brought that down to 9. Another 0.2 out then from Ellis, and he's down to within half a second of your race leader. Melissa Adrian in 8th. She's got past Tristan Powell. Max Shields as well is back up into 10th place in front of Sam Stoner and Bartek Filipiak. So he's starting to move back through the field, but now has a gap of 2.2 seconds to Tristan Powell. So we'll need those in front to start battling it out if he is to try and, at the very least, get back anywhere near the top 8. Currently down in 10th and a couple of seconds off then. As now we see Dukes and Ellis, and let's see whether Dukes has just been holding a little bit back in reserve or whether it is just Ellis who is on a charge. 0.5 on the previous lap, down again this time, 0.3, and Nicholas Ellis in the 7, who's had a standout day here at Llandow. Who's been real. Oh, we've got a red flag here once again. That's Tom Holden, is one of the drivers. I imagine Curtis Latimer then will be the other one here at Llandow, as we see those 2 drivers off. Not quite sure in terms of the track where that might be, although given that Dukes and Ellis have come through, I think it's on the start line where the track goes right and goes left and then hooks around to the right-hand side, which was roughly where we'd expect it to be as our race leader Jacob Dukes had come through. We are at 8 laps with, in terms of timing, let's have a quick look. We've got 3 laps remain, just under 4 minutes remaining. So we are over in terms of half race distance, but we're not at 75% just yet. So this being a final may well be restarted. If it is, it will be a single file rolling restart with all of our field packed tightly together. So for our drivers that have been further back or that have maybe had a problem or had to come all the way through, Ollie Naylor, for example, who's currently classified in 6th place, although with 2 drivers off, that's going to promote him potentially up to 4th from a 12th place start. Max Shields as well, who's had that problem. There are your 2 drivers standing, and they appear to be okay, which is always good to see. But the tyre wall and the kart being all the way through it, and the other side of the track being active on the other side, is the reason why that red flag has come out. Obviously, driver's safety is paramount, but as well as that, we can't go racing with a big hole in the tyre wall, and you can see how hard they must have hit it, because that marshal on the right-hand side with a blue bandana has just had to collect one of the tyres from well out on the back of the screen. Red flags also give an opportunity for our camera staff to get in on the action and wave in the background. So the ambulance is back in, which is always good to see, and I don't think it's brought any occupants back with it, which is fantastic. But we can potentially have a 4-minute shootout here. Just having a quick look into the live chat comments. Jack Tinker's been saying, come on, Emily. Not quite sure who you are supporting, because I don't remember any Emilys being racing here today. Lucas Blanford's been on saying good luck to Jacob Dukes, Harry Hurstgrover and Bartek Filipiak, Team X Kart. They're all out at the moment in this one. And Ollie B96 saying go on Jacob. Well, he was in the lead when the red flag came out, but at the time he was being reeled in by Nicholas Ellis. But these tyres obviously now cooling with every second. The carts will have been stopped and they'll be stationary, so they'll be cooling down as well. Tyre wall is being rebuilt. Tom Holden has just driven his kart back into pit lane and Parc Ferme. So carts are currently being held down at the far end of the circuit on the Lancaster curve. So they're going to have half a lap to roll round, so we might go roll it round from there and then get the green flag. In fact, timing's just been reset back to the previously complete lap, which is why you've just seen everything turn itself round. That will obviously move again once those drivers roll themselves round into position. Tyre wall appears to be there or thereabouts for being rebuilt. There is still a little bit of work going on down on the outside of the start-finish straight.
Yeah, what the hell does he look like?
I mean, just looking at there, we've got our race director on the left. In the background, with the fluorescent jacket on his head. I mean, I know it's warm, but, I mean, come on, what are we doing? I mean, we're not going to miss him, but then we're not going to miss him in general, are we? So our camera guy down there wearing his high-vis vest in a very unique way, Mr. Jordan. Just having a quick look out of the commentary box window, which is also through the window of the ambulance, all the way down to where the tyre wall is being rebuilt. Looks like that is coming along nicely. So we see the tyre wall there on the left, just about being rebuilt. Should be good to go in a few moments. There is a skill to it. It's probably not up there with dry stone walling. He's putting a tyre wall back together, but there is a knack to it. And looks like that one is good to go. So we are currently just waiting on confirmation that we are going to roll round and resume this one in an order. They will be sent round, I imagine, in single file based on the results of the previous lap. So we're just getting confirmation of who that's going to be as Nicholas Ellis gets sent round from second place. Then it would have been I think Jaden Hewitt. Then it would have been Tom Holden and Curtis Latimer, but they're not with us because they've just been off in the cause of the red flag. So they would have been in 4th and 5th place. Ollie Naylor then will be the next classified driver, I believe, to be sent round in 4th place. And at the time was classified in 6th. So all being well, I imagine that the results will be Dukes, Ellis, Hewitt will be the next one. The 56 of Curtis Latimer being sent round, but I get the feeling that he was one of the drivers that was off in the wall, so it'll be unclear as to whether he gets to retake the start, the driver of the 56. Then it's going to be, I believe, Ollie Naylor in front of Harry Hurst Grover, as Tom Holden is already in the pit lane. So Jacob Dukes then, it will roll round. Now what will happen is we'll roll round for one lap and then we will have a green flag at the line. Jacob Dukes and Nicholas Ellis, the top two there in a single file. Then we'll have Jaden Hewitt. Then we have Curtis Latimer in the queue in front of Ollie Naylor. But I think it was Latimer that was in the tyre wall with Tom Holden, the two drivers when the red flag came out. So be unclear, whilst Latimer has been sent round, if he is able to take this restart or not, because if you're involved in the incident for the red flag, whilst they take the results back for one full lap, it's whether that kart is deemed to have had the outside assistance with the kart being off at the time of the red flag and not running when the red flag came out, as to whether that driver in 4th place is able to take the restart or not. Naylor then will be 5th in front of Hurst Grover, Adrian, Powell, Shield, Stoner, Filipiak and Waring. So at the moment, looks like we've got 12 runners. We are being, I think they'll be told to start their engines in a few moments' time. They are, and they are sent round onto the track. In terms of timing, we had just under 4 minutes remaining. Just having a quick look at the chat. Joshua Owens just asking, have the final times been cut down? Yes, they have. They were going to be 15 minutes. They're down to 10 because we had a really, really long delay earlier on. AD's Carpin Adventures, you can on saying, just asking regarding the red flag and the driver making the restart. Not quite sure. I'm going to try and seek some clarification from our race director on that one, but at the moment is rolling round at the moment. Down the back straight they come then. Currently still under red flag conditions with Jacob Dukes dictating the pace down that back straight to the point where he could probably get out and walk quicker than what he's driving at the moment. He'll go round that final corner and then give it some beans and away we go. We're away and racing once again here then in the... And it's a false start, is it potentially? It's still being shown as a red flag. The green flag held up in the air. So it looks like we're not happy with that one and we're going to race again. So we still do have 3 minutes and 56 seconds remaining. this first final of our day here from Llandow. You see viewing gantry in the background. It's got a few spectators on. Generally, most of the mechanics, they drop the carts off, and then as soon as they go, they run up there to watch. It's the part of the track where you can probably see around about 45, maybe about 65% of the track. So you can see most of it from there. They will disappear out of sight as they come down this hanger straight. And this time now, the pace a lot quicker from Jacob Jukes. He's switched it up, and then he's going to slow them down round Raymond's, and then hit the throttle pedal. Away we go. Then the green does drop this time from the single file format, and we are away and racing once again. Confirmation on the timing of Holden dropping down into 12th place. Jukes, Ellis, Hewitt, Latimer and Naylor, the top 5 over the line. Nicholas Ellis, who was reeling in Jacob Jukes when the red flag came out. Albeit it did take him 3 or 4 laps to get that car up to his optimum operating window. Will he be able to do anything in the 3.5 minutes remaining in this race to close in on Jacob Jukes? We're all nose to tail down the back straight, and as you'd expect, and wide goes Tristan Powell, outbrakes himself and allows Maximus Shields to move through into 8th place. Move around once again, Sam Stoner in the 38. Looks like he's not showing in terms of timing in his transponder over the line. Not for the first time today. Stoner's had problems picking up over the timing loop here at Llandow. The top 3 still breaking away ever so slightly from Curtis Latimer in 4th place. Jukes, Ellis and Hewitt, your top 3 as it stands. Bouncing their way over the curbs. And Hewitt closing right in on the back of Nicholas Ellis. Down the back straight they go towards Raymond's at the bottom end of the track here, right near the commentary box on the outside of the Raymond's hairpin. And Jukes is through. 0.2 of a second between Jukes and Nicholas Ellis in 2nd place. Ellis close enough and bounces right over them curbs, closes up on that and then loses a few kart lengths as well in doing so. It looks like he's dragging Latimer and Naylor along as well. 2 minutes remaining, plus 1 lap then in these finals that are now down to 10 minutes after the elongated red flag earlier on. Onto the back straight, Nicholas Ellis, head down behind the steering wheel, trying to close in on Jacob Jukes. The top 5 split by under 2 seconds, fairly evenly split. The top 3 though, nose to tail and split by 6 thousandths. Latimer gets a good run this time on Jacob Jukes. Jukes goes to the inside ever so slightly to defend down there into the double apex left at Surtees. Closed up once again then by Nicholas Ellis, who is much closer this time as they head down towards Chandler's. And Ellis needs to be close enough to make that run into the through this complex, through the Dell, round Diggers. He's got to try and get a run out there onto the back straight, willing Jaden Hewitt to push him along as much as he can without any sort of contact, dropping that nose down. 12 laps into the record books. It's going to be a 15-lap final, I think, by the time we get done here, because our drivers are going to get round before the time elapses. With Jukes, Ellis and Hewitt still the top 3, but then Latimer and Naylor not too far behind. Ellis once again now right in the wheel tracks of Jacob Jukes. It's whether Jukes feels comfortable enough to take the normal lines or whether he's going to start defending. If he does, that's going to back them both into Hewitt, who's right behind anyway. Latimer's half a second back, with Ollie Naylor a further second back. He's dropped behind, and down the inside goes Nicholas Ellis on Jacob Jukes. They're 3 wide over start finish. Jukes is going to come back through. Jaden Hewitt is through into 2nd place. Ellis was quite benevolent there, actually. Got down the inside and gave Jacob Jukes the full kart width and a bit more on exit. Ellis is trying to get back down the inside of Jaden Hewitt. Latimer's back into play then in 4th place. And as Ellis went down the inside, he bounced over the curves and was through, but then either didn't have enough momentum to carry the speed all the way to the outside of the track, and Jukes was able to run it all the way round the outside and see and live to hold on for another corner. Jaden Hewitt though now in the slipstream. Jukes looks over the shoulder twice. Will Hewitt come to the inside? No, he doesn't this time, as Jacob Dukes slots out. Time's elapsed. Last lap board is out. Nicholas Ellis had his shot at Jacob Dukes. What can Jaden Hewitt do? Bounces over the curbs on the exit of the hook. Heads down towards Surtees, and Dukes parks the 34 right to the inside. Will that compromise his exit? Although Jaden Hewitt runs slightly wide and loses a bit of time. He's going to need to use himself and maybe a little bit of Nicholas Ellis pushing him along to try and close up right onto the back to have one last do-or-die move down the back straight. Jacob Dukes, though, has a few kart lengths. Is there anything Jaden Hewitt can do? Into the slipstream, moves to the inside, holding off Nicholas Ellis. He's close enough. Dukes, one kart width in, does just enough to prevent any overtakes, and Jacob Dukes comes through to take the checkered flag, and victory from Jaden Hewitt by 0.2 of a second. Then Nicholas Ellis in third. That's your podium, with Curtis Latimer classified in fourth, in front of Ollie Naylor, Max Shields, Harry Hurst-Grover, Melissa Adrian, Tristan Powell, Bartek Filipiak, and James Waring, showing your top 11 on timing. Sam Stoner not picking up, although now will be moved through and actually be classified in 10th in front of Filipiak and Waring. Tom Holden, one of the two drivers involved in that red flag incident, not classified and 8 laps down.